Case 1665. The Mystery of Two Cells. Something isn't right. Two cells stand before us. At first glance, they may seem alike. But don't be fooled. They are worlds apart. Your mission, young detectives, is to dive into the microscopic world of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Can you uncover the hidden clues? Can you spot the differences? This case started many years ago when Robert Hooke discovered cells using a compound microscope he designed. His groundbreaking observation laid the foundation for modern biology and significantly advanced scientific understanding. But what exactly is a cell? A cell is the most fundamental unit of life. It serves as the basic and functional component of all organisms. In plants and animals, including humans, cells are organized into tissues and organs based on their functions. Now, cells are broadly classified into two distinct types: prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotes are unicellular organisms that lack a cell nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. The word pro means before, while karyon means kernel, which refers to the nucleus. This makes the direct translation of prokaryotes to before nucleus. On the other hand, the word eu in eukaryotes means true, and this makes the direct translation of eukaryotes as true nucleus, which makes sense because by definition, eukaryotes are organisms whose cells contain a clearly defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. A eukaryote can be unicellular or multicellular, meaning it may consist of a single or multiple cells. For a better understanding, think of them like this. Prokaryotic cells are like Nipa hut. They are simple yet functional. It has a single space where cooking, sleeping, and relaxing all happen in one area. Eukaryotic cells are like mansions. They are large with multiple rooms, each designed for a specific purpose: a bedroom for sleeping, a kitchen for cooking, and a living room for relaxing. Now take note that properly using the terms prokaryotes and prokaryotic cells is important. We use these words when describing the organism itself, while we use these terms when we talk about the cells that make up these organisms. Of course, the differences between them doesn't stop there. There's still so much to explore, and we will look at them at a much closer and molecular level. Let's start with their nucleus. The presence or absence of a nucleus is the main characteristic that distinguishes the two apart. The nucleus, which contains DNA, serves as the cell's control center, regulating important processes such as growth, metabolism, and reproduction. In prokaryotes, the nucleus is absent. Instead, a nucleoid, or a region of cytoplasm where DNA is concentrated, is present. Now, a nucleoid is different than a nucleus because there is no nuclear membrane to protect it. In eukaryotic cells, a true or rather distinct nucleus is present. It houses the cell's DNA and is protected by the nuclear membrane. This separates the contents of the nucleus from the cytoplasm. Now, inside the nucleus, we can find the cell's DNA. However, prokaryotes have circular DNA, while eukaryotes possess linear DNA. Imagine the prokaryotic circular DNA as a rubber band. It's a continuous loop without any end, making it compact and easy to twist so that it can fit inside a small cell. It has no loose ends, which makes it less likely to be damaged. As for eukaryotes, their linear DNA is like a shoelace. It is long and it needs to be neatly wrapped around something to stay organized inside the nucleus. The two cells also differ in the presence of organelles. Now, organelles are special parts of a cell that perform specific tasks. They work together by sending signals and materials to each other. A protective membrane encloses some organelles. This is called a lipid bilayer, which is why they are known as membrane-bound organelles. Prokaryotic cells, being simpler, lack membrane-bound organelles. In contrast, eukaryotic cells have many, such as the mitochondria for energy production, the endoplasmic reticulum for making lipids and proteins, vacuoles for storage, and chloroplast in plant cells for photosynthesis. Eukaryotic cells are also bigger than prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells have an approximate size of 1 micrometer, while eukaryotic cells ranges from the size of 10 to 100 micrometer. Now, the cell membrane or plasma membrane is found in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. It acts like a gate, controlling what enters and leaves the cell. Made of lipids and proteins, it forms a semi-permeable layer that separates the cell interior from its surroundings. Since prokaryotic cells don't have mitochondria, they use their cell membrane for energy production. In eukaryotic cells, the membrane is more complex and also protects organelles from external factors. Plant cells have an extra layer called the cell wall, which provides additional strength and support. Prokaryotic cells are reproduced through binary fission, where DNA is copied and the cell splits into two. As for eukaryotic cells, they are reproduced by mitosis, creating body cells, or meiosis, which produces egg cells and sperm cells. Lastly, some examples of prokaryotes include bacteria, such as the infamous E. coli, and thermophiles, which is an example of archaea. On the other hand, plant cells, animal cells, and fungi are prime examples of eukaryotes. Although these two types of cells are entirely different from one another, there are still some similarities between the two. Both are surrounded by a plasma membrane. Both use DNA as their genetic material. Both contain cytoplasm and ribosomes for protein synthesis. Lastly, both are capable for reproduction. To sum it all up, prokaryotic cells are simple yet efficient cells, and they most definitely dominate the microscopic world. Of course, eukaryotic cells are much more complex, which makes them power the multicellular life. From the teeny tiny world of microorganisms to plants, animals, and humans, every living organism relies on these fundamental cell types. Every detail matters in the microscopic world. Now, the next time you look at a cell, will you be able to spot the differences? Hope this video helped you guys understand this very interesting case. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious, bio peeps, because here in Sci High, science, cells, and Hainayan are all in one.